Casual Birder podcast, a weekly podcast for people interested in the birds they find around them. I'm Susie Buttress. As a casual birder, I look for opportunities to watch birds as I go about my daily tasks. Join me each week as I tell about my birdwatching moments, talk about the various birds I've seen, or speak with other birders about their experiences. This week, I visited Regent's Park in London to do a bird walk. There's a trip report from the Isles of Scilly by my husband John, and friend of the show Alan White gives us an update on the Cardinal family in his garden in Savannah, Georgia. I'm staying in London for a few days. I'm here for the London Podcast Festival, and so today I've come out to Regent's Park to do a bird walk, see what's around. It's the first time I've been to Regent's Park. It's quite exciting. I came in via the underground, got off at Baker Street and walked up Baker Street to come in the entrance by the lake here in Regent's Park. And on the way past the Sherlock Holmes Museum, it was interesting to see everyone queued up outside, waiting to go in, and there was a London bobby on the steps. You might be able to hear that coot in the background calling. There's a London bobby on the steps for people to take photographs with. So I've come into the park. It's lunchtime, so it's pretty busy, but it's an overcast day. Early September. First thing I saw when I came into the park were hordes and hordes of feral pigeons. Oh, I've just spotted a squirrel over by the hedge. So masses of feral pigeons, quite a few Canada geese, a lot of coots on the water, a couple of possibly pink-footed geese or grey-lag geese. I'm not sure which. I've taken some photographs, and I will have a look in a minute. I've also heard and seen a small flock of ringneck parakeets, very distinctive calls. There's some black-headed gulls calling in the background. Someone just decided to feed the pigeons, and they are currently surrounded by, I'd estimate, 40 or 50 Canada geese and probably over 100 feral pigeons. So good on them. Not something I'd want to do. I'm happy to feed birds in ones and twos, but I don't want to be part of a feeding frenzy for any animal. Feral pigeon has just landed by my feet. But unfortunately, I have got some seed on me, but I shan't be feeding it anywhere near the hordes. Just heard a blue tip. And I'm just going to cross the bridge and go to the other part of the walk along the river and see what we can see. Oh, the other thing that's been around are some juvenile rooks. I have to say none of them look terribly healthy. Oh, and there's a gorgeous grey heron just sitting on the other side of the water. He's on alert, so he knows he's been spotted. He's standing very close to a white trunked tree, and I think it forms quite a good camouflage for him. In fact, he's just about to walk off. Oh, he's just caught something in the that's interesting. He's caught something in the grass. I'm going to head over the bridge and see if I can see him a little bit closer. I'm just going to stalk this heron for a moment because he seems not that bothered by the people on the path. So he's about 2.5 feet tall. He's not at his full stretch at the moment. Beautiful markings. He's got his neck stretched up at the moment. So similar to the great blue heron, the squirrel's just running across the path. Oh, he's stopped by these people and he's just looked up at them as if they've got food, but they haven't. They're just looking at their phone. So we'll just see if we can get a photograph of this heron. Don't want to freak him out, just want to take a photograph. Beautiful. He's beautiful. He's standing right next to me. He's on alert, but he's just over the other side of a small railing, and it's almost like he doesn't mind. I was just about to try and go live then. Oh, there's a grebe in the water. I was just about to go live then because the heron was so close, and someone went past with a pram, and that really freaked him out. Yeah, it's a lovely great crested grebe in the water. I'll describe that one for you in a second. Oh, he's dived. That is one of the things they do. You can hear some long-tailed tits. You can see the great crested grebe again. So they're quite magnificent looking birds. Could be mistaken for a duck or maybe a swan, I guess, in the shape. He's gone again. They're a diving bird. There's a moorhen complaining across the water there. So the grebes are about the size of a mallard, but more slender looking, long neck, longish neck in proportion to the body. They tend to keep sort of arched backwards a little bit, and they have a long, thin bill, so different to a duck, which is duck bill shaped, which is flatter. And what's particularly attractive about them, they have a white neck and white face. And particularly attractive about them is they have cinnamon coloured crests along the side of their faces. I'll try and get a photograph of it. They do dive a lot. Oh, the heron just got chased away by a young boy. That's a shame because I could have got another photograph. So far I've seen great crested grebe, moorhen, coot, pink-footed geese, or possibly grey-leg geese. The ring-necked parakeets you can hear going over right now. Quite a few feral pigeons, I'd say well over 100. I saw a wood pigeon just moments ago, and there's quite a few rooks around, lots of juveniles. So they haven't got their white faces yet, but you can see them starting to come. One of the things I like about rooks is they're a little bit like ravens in that they look like they've got pantaloons. They've got feathered thighs, and I've got one walking along near me at the moment, and it's quite interesting to see. I've already seen a squirrel, a grey heron. Actually, there's a few grey herons around. There's another one just taken off as I looked. Then he's come over to where the other birds are feeding. Oh no, he's flown off up the river. Black-headed gulls. I think there was a lesser black-backed gull, but I didn't see its legs to be confirmed for the colour, and it was a juvenile or an immature bird, so quite tricky to tell. So there's a moorhen, a couple of feral pigeons just here. Some long-tailed tits, you might be able to hear the high-pitched noise of them, calling of them. So the ring-necked parakeets are a noisy bird anyway. But I'm just checking to make sure that there isn't anything else that's causing them to make their alarm call. So as we said before, looking out to see when there's alarm calls being sounded is a good way of seeing some other birds, especially birds of prey. There's a lot of grey-legged geese. I think they're grey-legged geese, swimming by all in a long line. Lots of black-headed gulls mostly in their winter plumage now. So the reason I say that is they've got white heads with black spots on their ears, whereas in the summer they would have chocolate-coloured heads. So those grey-lag geese have just come out of the water, and they seem to be dominant to the Canada geese. So black-headed gulls here, the grey-lag geese, the Canada geese. So Canada geese are characterised by having black heads with a white chin strap, but quite wide. So it's like a white band that goes from ear to ear under the chin. Black face, and then the top of the throat area, round to the breast, it's a pale buff. And the wings are a dark, or a mix of mid and dark brown. They've got dark feet with a white undertail area. Now the other geese, which have pink feet, but I think they're grey-lag geese rather than pink-footed geese. I think pink-footed geese are supposed to have quite delicate beaks. So the grey-lag geese are mostly brown with a white tail, but their heads are a more similar brown colour all over, and they have got an orange beak, whereas the Canada geese got black beaks. Seems like it's preening time for everyone. Everyone's out the water preening. There are some feral pigeons and Canada geese sitting at the edge of the water. Again, another rook that's looking particularly scruffy. Just in altercation between this gull. There's a young herring gull here that seems to be a bit anti everyone else. He had a little go at, he's having a go at the pigeons. There's a whole load of coots lined up on the side of the river here. So coots are a water bird, reasonably large, I would say sort of chicken-sized. So the coot is a black bird with yellow-green legs, very large feet, webbed feet as well, and it has a white beak and a white sort of faceplate. They graze, they eat vegetation, so these ones here are grazing out of the grass. I'm just getting run over by pigeons here. Someone must be... Oh, yep, someone's feeding them. So you might have heard all those wings going past, and that was someone walking past, scattering seed as he went and encouraging the pigeons to swarm at him. But he walked right past me, so I had pigeons heading straight at me. Okay, I think it's probably time to leave the park and head on back for the podcast for this evening. I'd love to know what birds you've seen this week. My husband, John, is a passionate photographer and specialises in taking photographs of coastal landscapes at dawn and dusk. While he's waiting for the perfect lighting conditions for his photographs, he does what any good casual birder does and looks to see what's around. He's currently visiting the Isles of Scilly, and he sent this trip report from his first few days there.
Hello from a very warm and sunny St Agnes in the Isles of Scilly. It's a beautiful sunny afternoon. Sorry, I was distracted there. Huge number of gulls just took off in the distance, and I wondered if they'd been put up by a bird of prey or something. I can't see anything. Anyway, sorry, got distracted there. Yes, so I'm on the island of St Agnes, which is the furthest south and west of the largish of the inhabited Isles of Scilly. It's a beautiful rugged island with lots of granite outcrops around the coast. Really, really spectacular. It's a beautiful, very warm, sunny afternoon. Lots of blue sky, and you can probably hear waves lapping around my feet and around some of the honey-coloured granite boulders that litter the landscape here. To give you a sense of what it's like around St Agnes, it really is very rocky. Lots of rocky outcrops, small uninhabited islands all around the coast here. There's when I was walking around the coast of the island earlier, I passed a small bay called Porth Warner, and read afterwards that Saint Warner is the patron saint of shipwrecks, so it gives you an idea of what the place is like. Very, very rugged, very treacherous rocks in inclement weather. Hard to imagine that on a beautiful day like this. It really is a fantastic sunny day. I saw a seal, a grey seal, this morning when I was out at dawn taking pictures, and of course I've seen lots of bird life, all the sort of coastal birds that you'd probably expect, like oyster catchers, a variety of gulls, black-headed gulls, herring gulls and great black-backed gulls, also turnstones, rock pipits. I saw some ravens on the walk earlier, which was a treat. Don't often get to see those. I think one of the most surprising birds that I've seen so far was a red grouse, the sort of bird that I normally associate with high mountains and moorland much further north in the British Isles. So that was nice to see. And one of the other things that I really noticed when I was on that walk around the coast of St Agnes earlier was rat traps everywhere, and I'm guessing that nowadays all of those rat traps will be empty, because when I arrived in the Isles of Scilly a couple of days ago, I saw that St Agnes were proudly claiming that this island is now rat free, so that's fantastic news for the nesting birds here. Fewer predators to take the eggs and the young of those nesting birds. So yeah, I shall leave you there as the waves come in closer and closer to my feet. I think I need to move a bit further up the beach. Okay, bye for now.
Thanks to John for that report. He also sent in the list of birds he's seen so far, and I'll post that in the Casual Birder Facebook group. If you'd like to see any of John's photographs, you can find him on Instagram at image_simple. Long-time friend of the podcast, Alan from Savannah, Georgia, sent in an update on the status of the birds in his garden.
Hi Susie, it's Alan from Savannah. I just wanted to give you an update on my bird feeders. I haven't seen any new baby cardinals in a few weeks, but there are half a dozen teen cardinals flying around now. Yesterday I saw 5 teen cardinals sitting on a fence with Papa Red sitting on the end with them. 2 of the teens started fighting, and Papa Red started yelling at them and smashed into them, essentially telling them, "Get back in formation." A brood of about 2 dozen house finches is impotently attempting to take over the bird feeders. They fly in and stand guard, trying their hardest not to let any bird through. This includes them shooing off any hummingbirds that try and take the nectar that the finches don't even have access to. Then they'll even splash water out of the bird bath. When the cardinals come in, the finches scamper away, considering the cards are twice their size. Chickadees aren't scared of them because they're super fast. The tufted titmouse family of 5 doesn't seem too concerned either, as they just jump out of the reach anytime they get nipped. The nuthatches, whom I call the senators, are the best though. They'll just hang upside down under the feeder and bite the feet of the guarding finches. I had a rare bird sighting for me yesterday. The brown nuthatch has returned after not seeing him for almost a year. My current list of birds at the feeders include red-bellied woodpecker that I named Woody, a pileated woodpecker that I named Terry the pterosaur, a tufted titmouse, chickadees, white-breasted nuthatch, brown nuthatch, mourning dove, house finch, northern cardinal, mockingbird, and of course the gray squirrel who's yet to crack my newest squirrel-proofing barrier. Have a great week, birders.
Thank you so much for updating us, Alan. It sounds like you've plenty of dramas going on there. I could probably watch them for hours. Join our Facebook group to discuss this week's episode, or post your photos of the birds you've seen. I really do enjoy hearing your tales, so come and join the conversation there. Find us at facebook.com/groups/Casual Birder Podcast. Follow me on Twitter @CasualBirderPod or on Instagram @CasualBirderPodcast. And you can email me at casualbirderpod@gmail.com. Make sure you don't miss any episodes by subscribing to the show. Subscribing is free, and you can do it wherever you listen to the show. And please consider leaving a rating and review in Apple Podcasts. This helps other people find the show. You can also help the show by retweeting any tweets about it. Thank you to Randy Braun for designing the artwork for the show. The theme music is Short Sleeve Shirt by the Drones. Thanks to them for letting me use it. And check out their website at www.dronesmusic.net. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you'll join me again for another episode of the Casual Birder podcast.